All right, I think we can go ahead and get started now. So thank you guys for joining us today. My name is Jim Coppinger with ZenTech Consultants, and today we're going to be talking about Bluebeam Revu. You can count on it. In other words, we're going to be talking about the count processes and tools inside of Bluebeam Revus today, and how you guys can make use of those. So for those of you who haven't worked with us before, we're ZenTech Consultants. We're a premier Bluebeam partner. We provide sales, tech support, and training on Bluebeam Revu and all of its related products. We also even develop and sell our own industry-specific tool chests that reside inside of the Bluebeam product, and you maybe even see a few of those today. And the thing that I want to leave you guys all with from a sales standpoint really is that we're a premier Bluebeam partner, which means that we can always do a better job pricing for you when it comes time to upgrade or add seats, right? So if you guys don't remember anything else from today, remember that ZenTech will always give you a better price than dealing directly with Bluebeam. So something for you to keep in mind. It's benefits of being a premier partner. So today, what are we going to talk about? So we're going to talk about working with counts and working with counting symbols in your plans, getting totals, automating those processes, and talking about some of the tools that you may or may not know exist inside of Bluebeam just to help you do that basic counting function. So we're going to talk about how to count existing symbols, how to get totals, how to search for symbols, and so on. So we're going to talk about doing some custom markers and a little bit of estimating in here as well, and how you can pull off pricing and some of the other stuff as far as your counts are concerned inside of Bluebeam. So with that said, it's demo time. So you see here today, I have a pretty basic house floor plan. I went pretty simple today just to keep it, pretty reasonable in terms of time and speed. So one of the things that's important to everybody on this call, doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're an architect or an electrical contractor or a GC, we've got to count things, right? When you look at a plan, you look at your elevations, you got to know, how many doors do I have in the house? How many light switches? How many windows? How many rooms? How many sets of stairs? Doesn't matter, right? At some point, we all need to count things, right? And, a lot of us, believe it or not, in this day and age, I still talk to folks all the time. We're like, yeah, I just print it out, and then I sit there with a red pen, and I just go, here's a window, here's a window, here's a window, and I just mark them all off, right? That seems a little crazy to me, but I still get folks who are doing that. So with Bluebeam Revu, I also see people kind of say, well, I don't print them out anymore. Now I do a PDF, but I will still see people coming in and doing things with the pens like this, going, okay, yeah, there's one here, there's one here, there's one here, one here, and they do this kind of manual checkoff process, right? And that alone is very tedious, right? I have to keep drawing each one of those tools. So I'm just going to undo those. With Bluebeam Revu, when you get over onto your measurement tabs, it has a built-in count functionality, which is really, really helpful. And we're going to start off real quick just by showing you guys you can actually come in now and do a manual count of objects. And what's great about this is when you put on a count, you go over to your properties tab, you see you have a bunch of, or a number rather, of built-in tools for symbols, being able to do counts. So if I want to go in and do check marks, like I was just kind of doing my little red lines, I can actually come in here and I can set the colors and say, hey, for windows, I want to do blue check marks, right? And I can change the size, make them bigger, smaller. And now I can do my count and go, look, I got a window there, and a window there, and a window there, and a window here, and a window here. I can just run across my whole building doing little check marks for all my windows. And that's okay. That works really well. It certainly beats printing these all out and handling all of the structure, by hand. But here's the real benefit of dealing with these, right? So notice that when I click on these, when I bring them in Bluebeam, you notice if I click on them, they all get this same control point, this yellow dot in the middle. It means they're all actually kind of connected. What it's done is it's grouped all of these symbols together. And you can see when I come down here that it's actually giving me a running count of how many of those objects are here. And in Bluebeam, it's really easy for me to come in and provide a subject and a label for these. So I can just put these in a Windows subject, and I can put these as a, I'll go real simply, we'll just call it a double hung window. And you see just like that, now I have a group of windows. So I've got 8 double hungs, right? Maybe now I need to go in and I need to put in another count. Now I can go in and maybe I'm going to switch this. I'm going to use the same symbol, but I'm going to switch it to green, right? And I'm going to go in on a count. Maybe I've got some sliders. And I'm just going to, I've got a slider here, and a slider here, and a slider here, and a slider here, and a slider here. Okay, so you see now I've got 2 separate counts. Same thing though, right here I can just change this to go in that same subject. It's still windows, but this is sliders. Okay, and now real easy, you can see I can start to sort and prefigure this. I've got 8 double hung and I've got 5 sliders. Right? So this is the basic counting structure that you can use inside a Bluebeam. And that's the long, slow way, to be perfectly honest with you, right? It works out pretty well. Yeah, and I can go in and I can manually change and do all kinds of different symbols. So now if I wanted to switch to doors, right, and I want to go in and start doing door symbols, I can click on counts, right? And I can say for doors, I'm going to do circles, and I'm going to make them red, okay? And I'll make them a little bit smaller. Right? And then I can go in and I can start dropping and say, okay, I got a door here and a door here and a door here. See, I can easily do manual counts, not a problem. And then again, these are all grouped together, right? So I can easily go in and set this for doors, right? And just call these interior doors. Right? And I can set sizes or whatever I want in the label. So you see, just like that, my interior door is all structured. I have 6 of those, right? So it's easy to go in and start to add these manual counts. Now, what's nice about these counts is that these are dynamic, because not only am I able to come in here and say, okay, you know, I've got a group of 6. I can come back weeks later, months later, it doesn't matter, if the design changes and I need to change the counts. Maybe there are more doors, or maybe I just missed some doors. So here's some doors in some other rooms that I didn't count. I can go to any one of these groups, these count groups, and I can just right click on it and say, I want to resume the count. That's going to give all of the properties, right? It's going to continue it as one of these. So you see now I can just go in and continue counting other doors that I may have missed. Okay? And just like that, you can see it's updating my interior doors. I now have 11 interior doors. Right? I can do the same thing if I want to come up and I have more windows than I needed to do. Right? So I'm going to come in here and you see this is my double hung windows. I can just right click on it and say, hey, I need to resume the count. Right? And I have some more double hungs. I have one over here and one over here and one over here. And just like that, you see it's updating. I now have, instead of 8, I have 11 double hung windows. So that's the idea behind dealing with counts. So I can all go in and I can continue counts, you know, either within the same session or weeks later. I can even go in and I can make changes. Right? So maybe this door and this door over here are different. So I can right click on this door and I can say, hey, I need to split the count. So now you see what happens is I've still got that original group, which is now made up of 10. And now I've got a secondary group, which is only 1. So if I need to change this one from being an interior door to, okay, that's a shower door. I don't know why I would count that, but sure, let's do that. Okay, so it was actually different, right? So it's a different, and maybe it ties to a schedule, right? So it's a shower door type A1. Right? You see, just like that, it's easy for me to go in and set whatever it is, whatever values I need, right, to be able to control what's going on for each of these, right? So that's the basic slow moving way of counting. And I'm just going to delete all of those, right? And start again from scratch, because there are actually better ways to do this. And one of the really powerful tools of working with counts inside of Bluebeam is the ability to search for symbols. So you see, for example, I've got this light fixture that I have in a bunch of the bedrooms and so on. It's a pretty easy thing for me to come in, and with Bluebeam, I can actually search, right? And I'm going to search visually, and I'm just going to get a rectangle. I'll say, look, I'm looking for any symbols that look like that one on my plan, and I hit search. Now this does take a minute, and it's going to slow a little bit slower than it normally would, just because I'm doing the video screen share with you guys today. But the idea here is that whatever it is, and I actually like to work a lot of times from a legend. So you see in here, normally what I would do is I would actually select that symbol on a legend just because it's cleaner. Like here, I've got that ceiling mounted light fixture, right? I just select that and let it run the search, right? And of course, you know, I'm talking here and this, of course, of all times, I'm trying to show you guys. There it goes. It definitely took longer than it normally does because of the video share. But you see that it went through and it found all the instances throughout my drawing down here of where it found those ceiling mounted light fixtures. So that's neat. So I'm going to kind of minimize this just a little bit because I know this goes off onto my second screen when I do it. So why is that important? So it found all the locations for those, because now I can just select all of those, and what I'm able to do is come in and apply count measurements to the ones that I have checked. So you see up here, I've got my basic count structures, all of those symbols I had before, right? So if I want to go in and put triangles on every one of those locations, I can just pick the triangle, okay? And look what just happened throughout the entire drawing, right? You can see that it went in and it found for me all the locations where there were those ceiling lights on my plans, and it located them down here. And then I can just go into these and you know, set their values and labels and so on, right? Which is, again, really, really a cool thing, right? So again, I'm just going to Control A, and I'm going to delete all of these. So the other thing that's really, really neat about any of these, actually, you know what? Let me put those back. So I'll just put those back real quick. So that's how you can count and replace. Now, one of the other things that's really nice about these is that you can actually come in here, and because they are all grouped together, I can change the appearance and even the symbol. So if I say, hey, you know what, I decided not to use triangles for a ceiling, you know what, it made more sense to go with a yellow circle. And you see, just like that, I'm able to change the basic symbols for all of them in one shot, no problem, because they're all part of one count group. But what's even better than that is that you can actually build, one of the things that's phenomenal about Bluebeam Revu is that you can build your own tool chests. Right? You can customize them, or you can reach out to Zentech, and we work with our clients to build and customize tool chests to your specific needs. But for example, you see we've got one kind of a predefined set we sell for interior usage, where I've already got this light ceiling fixture in place. They've got some 2x2, some basic wall and light and track lighting in here for, you know, simple interior lighting structures. So if I want to use that, and I say, hey, you know, I want to use this symbol that I've created to do all of this count work, right? You'll notice here you get this little, and I'm going to minimize this again, this little tool chest, right? The golden chest you have here, it says custom counts. When you drop that down, any tool chest that you create, right, you can actually come right in here and use those symbols to replace the count. So if I want to go in and use my lighting symbol where it's already set for ceiling fixture type, right, just like that, you say I can update all of those, and you see it provided now. It changed the subject and it changed the label, so I'm already predefined to tie this to a schedule, right? So that's ceiling fixture type A1, right, for all of those, and now they all match. And there you go. I can see exactly how many ceiling light. See, I've got 8 type 1 ceiling fixtures, all structured and ready to go. Okay, so I'm all set with that. And somehow I got some of the other ones here that were overwritten. I guess I didn't do it. I must have hit the search twice. Okay, and you can see that wherever I have ceiling lights now, I've got my count structured. Right, and again, I can go in and set any of the features tools. Now, once you've got your counts done, one of the other things that you can do, one of the really powerful things about dealing with Bluebeam, right, is that you can actually start to do down here in the bottom, it's markups list. You can actually start to do some customization and setting your own custom columns. That's a little bit of a class in and of itself, right? But I would, you know, just wanted to show you guys a few days. So if I know, hey, my ceiling light fixtures, the ones that we're using throughout here, I know that I was able to get those for $24.98, right? That was my cost per unit, right? And I have set, and I say, hey, you know what? I also know that, you know, we've set a flat fee of $50 per unit for installation. And just like that, you see it's actually doing number calculations for me. It's starting to run my costing. And you can make this as simple or as complex as you need it to be. But the great thing about this is that as I go in, if I got to go in and add more ceiling light fixtures, I want to resume that count, and I say, hey, you know, we're going to put one here, and we decide to put another one over here. All right, we're going to throw one in the exercise room, and we're going to throw, you know, 2 more in the great room. Just like that, you see, not only does it update my count, but it's also updating all my costs in real time. Okay, and if I go in and I delete some, and I want to, you know, delete something out, and I say, hey, you know what, we decide not to put one in the bedroom. Whoop, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I deleted them all. Okay? I can easily go into each and every one of these, right? And I can just right click on that and say, hey, let's delete that one. Oop, for some reason, I keep catching them all. Right? But again, I can split out the count, okay, and just go ahead and delete the one, right? And then just go ahead and set my installation cost to something new if I needed to. So there's $23.95, right? And the unit price was $12.45. You see, it does all the math for me, right? I know I'm kind of messing up my numbers there because I'm talking too much. So that's a really neat thing that I can go in and I can handle all of my actual estimating in real time as I'm working with each and every one of these, right? And as part of that, right, like I said, it's very easy to also come in, and not only can I do it there, I can easily come in and I can take with Bluebeam Revu and I can bring in a legend, right, for each one of these objects. You see, it's giving me the counts, and as part of the legend, I can actually go in and turn on things like the actual, you know, total cost. Maybe I don't want to see the individual unit prices and costs, but you say I can turn on the total cost here as part of my legend, right? And then as I go in, if I want to go in and start adding additional things, maybe I got some 2x4 light grids, you know, that I'm throwing in and some of the rooms, or maybe in the breakfast area, I've got some too. I'm just throwing in a couple in there to, at random. But you see, I can go in and I can put prices for those, put $25, and the unit cost is, I don't know, we got them for 14 even. Right? You see, it's doing the costing for me, and you see all of that is happening right here. I don't even have to have this open. Right? And the same thing as I go in and I add more, right? So if I have to add more of those lights right here, I can just continue that count, right? Resume that count. And as I add more, wherever I drop them, you see here, it's updating, and I can see all of my costing and all my symbols and structures being handled in real time directly on my PDF plan, right? Which is a really, really cool kind of structure. Some of the other things you can do with counts, you can also add in sequencing counts with Bluebeam Revu, which means, for example, if I wanted to go in and I needed to start numbering doors, right? Not only do I want to count the doors, I want to know how many they are, but I also want to actually add numbers, door 1, door 2. So you see up here I have basic count symbology. So you see I can bring in a hexagon for door numbering. You see as I place them, see it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can actively count the doors as I'm running with them. Right? And what's really neat about that is that I can also set the sequence number. Right? So for example, if I want to go back to that hexagon, I can just go in and set the sequence here. Right? And I can set that to have a prefix of D for doors, and I want to start numbering it at 10. Right? And I'm going to increment by 1. Right? And I can just say, okay, now when I go in and I start placing these, see, that'll be door 10, 11, 12, 13. Right? So I can just continue on and do all of my counts that way. Right? It's another way to work with these. Really, really useful little tool that you can handle with that. Right? So again, you can build your own custom libraries. You can use all of your own custom symbol. Any custom symbol that you've defined as a count, you'll see their counts because they have this little 1, 2, 3 appears underneath them. Right? You can predefine all your structures and setup. You can even go so far as to do them by layer, so that I can do things like turning the lighting on or off, right? Which is something that we've done with our predefined Zentek tools. You see I'm able to turn the lighting on and off there, right? With no problem. Turn that back on. Okay, trying to see what else I wanted to talk about here. And again, as always, everything that you have here in terms of the count, whenever you work on any group or any individual item, you can always modify its properties, right? You can even, if you've got the caption, so for example, as a grid fixture type, I can actually have it show the caption, wherever it's defined for that symbol, right? And actually have it show that on plan. So if this was a grid fixture type B2, right? As soon as I put that in place, you see that they'll all update, and I can see right in place what each one of these symbols is if I need to, right? And I can always freely change from even my custom symbol back to a standard display symbol. Right? You just have to set a color for that you can see, right? And switch these on the fly as I need to. Change it to all kinds of different custom symbols for different things, right? So I can switch it to any symbols that I have and get all of my summary counts. And then the beauty of this, like I said, you can have it do for you, right? Actual costing in place, right? Like we were talking about, right? I can just go in and here, like I said, I set up just basic unit price. I'm just going to throw in some more numbers here, and 76. Right, just to get some numbers. And then what's nice about it is that once you're done and you've completed all your counts, your summaries, and the same is true with areas and so on, I can actively pull this out to an Excel file for continued setup. I'm just going to leave the defaults there and drop it on my desktop. I can just push this out to an Excel file so I can get a summary of all of my costs, and I've already got everything that I need. See, all the columns that I have in there are already set here and displayed. Here's the number, here's the type, the label, the costs, right? Unit prices and total costs already done for me in an Excel spreadsheet. Right? And if you have the extreme version of Excel, I can even go a step further, and I can actively link these cells so that they will update in real time. So I can actually change this so that as this, I add additional counts inside of Bluebeam, it will automatically update the Excel spreadsheet to take off for this particular project, which is a really nice functionality. It's called dynamic linking. Right? And it's with it's available only in the extreme version of Bluebeam Revu 2017. All right, so that's the idea behind working with counts inside of Bluebeam Revu. Like I said, we can continue counts, split them down, break them into different sections. We will have them show up in a markup list, so we can do all of our takeoffs. We can do it again as legends, and you see as things are deleted, they remove from the legends. I can combine legends, right? And I can search for any custom symbols. Right? And I can even do visual searches for specific symbols in the underlying PDF that I need to be able to take off and count. So as you can see, Bluebeam Revu is a really powerful tool for handling all the counting functions that you need for any job. Right? And other than that, I'm going to wind this out. Hopefully it gives you a good idea of what the Bluebeam functionality is. Right? And my personal contact information is up here on the screen. If you guys have any questions or you want to know more about Bluebeam Revu and its functions, feel free to reach out to me. And I encourage you guys to visit our website to see Bluebeam classes, actual training classes that we offer to kind of show you guys how to do all of the above. So I want to thank you guys for spending time with me today, and I hope everybody has a great afternoon.